welcome to another Mindful Proverbs video. My name is Latoya Zelmadge, and I just want to say Happy New Year. Happy 2021. I mean, how crazy was 2020? We're not going to deny the fact that it was crazy. 2020 was pretty chaotic. There's a lot of things that kind of like smacked us in the face, like, where did that come from? But in the midst of it, we can say that God has been faithful. I can say that God has been faithful. I can say that God has been good. And I just feel really privileged to be able to be making this first video for the new year. The fact that I have life and I have breath to be able to even speak these words to you, for me, that's the goodness of God. And I'm just grateful for that. The Lord, I have really been sitting in the presence of the Lord and just really trying to seek from him, Lord, what are you doing in this season? And how can I use your words to really entertain the peace of God? How can I use your word for me specifically for this season that's going to keep me focused and give me clarity and not allow me to feel lost in these times? Because when we feel lost and when we don't know what to do, we do become anxious. We become very worried and scared. And mentally, we're just off because we just don't feel like we have any stability. But Lord, what is the word that you're giving me personally that's going to give me stability during this time, that even when things begin to change, and know that things are going to change literally overnight, things are going to change so fast, things are going to change so rapidly that for some people, they're going to become too overwhelmed because they're not going to be able to adjust to the times and the seasons that we're living in and that we're heading towards. But there's something about when God gives you a word for a season, it gives you peace, that even when you know things are happening, Lord, you told me to do this, and I'm going to do this. And in obeying your instructions, I know that I will find safety. And so that's what I've been really seeking the Lord personally. God, give me clarity around these seasons. Tell me what you want me to do. What is that word that you have specifically for me that it's going to keep me and sustain me, and give me that grace, one, to continue to work for your glory, but also to give me a sense of peace, knowing that I'm going to be okay. Your people are going to be okay, and that you've got us covered. And in preparing this video, it's so funny because I planned to record this video when I was at my office yesterday, but then when I got there, I didn't have all the equipment that I usually use to do my videos. And, there's something about me where I would find a way to make it work. Even if I don't have everything that I'm supposed to have, I will find a way to make it work. And that's the drive in me. But there's something, when I was at my office yesterday, the Lord was just like, things just kept on coming left and right. And I'm like, Lord, is this distraction? And he specifically said to me, no, just wait. And this morning, as I was preparing to do this video, the Lord just said to me one word that I didn't have yesterday. I didn't have this word yesterday, but I definitely had it today. And the Lord said to me, equifinality. And I know that I studied this term long ago, and I'm like, Lord, why are you bringing this to me now? And he specifically told me that, sometimes we as believers or people in general, we compare our journey to other people's journey. And we feel like we have to do it a specific way to get the outcome that someone else gets. And we have to know that our journey with the Lord is personal. And the outcome may be the same, but our journey may be different. And just to define what equifinality is, and then I'm going to get into the word on instruction. So equifinality and instructions, we're going to see how these two terms really blend together, and what is God saying to us spiritually, or to me, that really could be benefiting you as well spiritually on, how do I really hone in on this term of equifinality, and how does it helped me and encouraged me around specific instructions that God would give to me that's going to lead to an outcome that everyone may experience the same outcome, but really honing in on my personal journey with the Lord. And so equifinality is a given outcome that can be reached from any number of different developmental paths. So in the field that I work in, psychology, mental health, when we think about equifinality, it's more of, adults may grow up to have experienced anxiety, adults may grow up to experience depression, and it may not mean that everyone who experienced anxiety and depression may have had the same experiences either in their childhood or before. It may be totally different experiences, different developmental challenges, but it leads to the same outcome. But when you think of spiritually, God has an outcome to give us a hope and a future. And for someone, it may be that He has them on a specific journey where they're experiencing different challenges to get them to the place of trusting God. Now, my challenge, your challenge may be completely different, but the outcome would be that we're both going to learn how to trust God. And the Lord has specifically given me a word in this season that we have to, as believers, learn how to get instructions from God, specific instructions, because times are going to be changing so fast. And the path that we had before that we thought was a legit plan, God may have to change it up overnight, and we're not going to know unless we're inquiring of Him and saying, God, you have the outcome to give me safety in the midst of all of this. What are those specific instructions that's going to guarantee me safety? I can't guarantee that myself. And we see in our society where there's a lot of things that they're coming up with that is expected to guarantee us safety. We don't know the outcome of it, but we know that there is safety in the instructions of the Lord for those of us who believe that. And so the definition of instructions is direction in a specific order. So it's not just having the directions, but it's also having the order of the directions. So you have a step 1, a step 2, a step 3. It could go all the way to step 10. And all the steps are important to lead to that outcome. Now, I have been reading 2 Samuel chapter 5. Specifically, I've been reading, the entire book of 2 Samuel. But in this chapter of 2 Samuel, the Lord definitely spoke to me. And He says, we've got to learn as the people of God to gain specific instructions from God, not to gain instructions from man, because the instructions that God may give one believer may be different from the instructions that He may give another believer, because we're all in different parts of assignments for one specific outcome. We don't know what someone else's instructions are, but we have to have our own personal instructions from God. And I see in 2 Samuel 5 where, God gave David specific instructions on how to defeat the Philistines that came up against him. And God gave David one instruction in the beginning part of 2 Samuel 5. Well, it's really from verse 17 to 25. But he says to him, David inquired of the Lord and he honored God. And that's another word that God specifically gave me for this season. He says it's instructions, obedience, and honor. And we see where David honored God and he went to God and he asked Him, should I go up against the Philistines? David knew that God was with him. David already knew that the Philistines were uncircumcised. He could have taken that knowledge, that foreknowledge that he had of God and even past experiences and say, I know that if I go up against them, I'm going to get victory. But I'm going to honor God and find out from Him, Lord, what are your thoughts and what do you want me to do? And the first time God tells him, yes, go, you're going to get victory. And he sure did. Now, the second time, the Philistines, they took a little break. They did come back. Some of us may have a break for a minute, but understand that you may get a challenge yet again. And the same confidence, the same honor that you had in inquiring from God the first time, God is saying, don't lose that. Inquire of me to gain every single step that's going to lead to the outcome. And as believers, the outcome will be victory. But I may do it different the second time. And God sure did do it differently when David came back to Him and the Philistines came up against him. And God says, yeah, we're not going to do it the way we did it the first time. We're going to do it different. And God gave David specific instructions and he carried it out. And David had victory. The Israelites had victory over the Philistines and they went away. So here's the thing that God is saying to us in this season. Gain instructions from me. There's a way that seems right to man, and it may seem like the end result is going to be like, there's no way that I can see that this can go wrong. But there may be a step that you missed. The step may be step 2 or step 3. And God is saying that those steps are very important. If my husband comes home with something that he needs to assemble, and I'm going to use a chair for example, and there are specific instructions on how to assemble this chair, and he goes straight to step 5 and 6 because he feel like he got 1 and 4 down packed. If either one of us sit on that chair, I don't care how much faith we got. We can have faith upon faith upon faith. Because we didn't follow through on the instructions, if we sit on that chair, if we miss step 1 through 4, there's a chance that we may fall. And that's the reality of it. We may fall because we didn't follow the instructions. And so I just wanted to really share that word with you, because this is the word that God has given me specifically. There's new things that's happening in this season, things that we've never seen before. But if we go to God and if we soak ourselves in the presence of God, He is going to give us clear instructions. He's going to give us revelation. He's going to give us clarity. Allow that to bring you a sense of peace, that as fast as things are happening, you're good. I'm good because we got instructions. Gain instructions from step 1 to 10. Even if the instructions go all the way to 20, don't miss a step. And understand that the instructions that God gave you may be different than the instructions that He gave another person, but the outcome, according to the term equifinality, will be the same. Be encouraged and know that God loves you, and be blessed. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, even the way how you're thinking about this season. Allow God to transform your mind, to remove that anxiety and to give you peace. And know that we have a God who is in control. He is sitting on the throne and He's sovereign, and He knows the best plan. He's got good and clear instructions. Receive them from Him and be blessed and be safe. Until next time.